These are all the black t-shirts that I own. And it's not because I love black so much. It's because I'm colorblind. I'm a colorblind photographer. Hi, I'm Ken. I'm an amateur photographer learning photography right here along with you. I also run the online community that I started called the Big Photo Hunt, which is arguably the world's most friendly photography community. It's really friendly. If you're watching this video, it's very likely that this is the colorblind leading the colorblind. But I've been very deliberate about teaching myself to overcome this disability when it comes to my photography. So in this video, I've got my 5 tips to help you navigate the world of photography and produce some beautiful images. Okay, so tip number 1 is to rely on tools, not just your eyes. Your eyes will lie to you. For me, the most helpful tools that I use are in Adobe Lightroom. Tools like the color picker, histograms, and white balance sliders, they give me hard data on what's really happening in my photos. So for example, with the color picker or the eyedropper in Lightroom, if you take that tool and you hover over a part of your photo, like the skin tones, the skies, or the grass, and then check the RGB numbers, you'll be able to notice if the skin tones show way too much green compared to red, you know it's off, even if it looks okay to you. I use the histogram too. Instead of guessing, I look at the histogram for the color channels. If one channel spikes unnaturally, say the blues are way heavier than reds and greens, you can correct it. I don't have any deficiencies in blues. I'm red-green colorblind, which is the most common type of colorblindness anyway. But the histogram will show you which colors are spiking and may need correction. And finally, there are some great white balance tools. So for example, you can use the eyedropper on something neutral, like a white shirt, a gray sidewalk, to instantly correct the overall tone of the photo. Tip number 2 is to always shoot raw so you have maximum flexibility when you're editing your photos. And these may seem like common sense, maybe this one does, but they're important, so that's why I mention them. Raw photos, they capture more information than JPEGs, especially the color data part. And so this gives you the ability to adjust the white balance, the tones, the saturation after you've shot the photo without ruining the image. If you don't know what raw means, I'll talk about that in another video. But for now, just know this will help you a ton. Okay, this is a tough one because you're gonna get a lot of slack from professional photographers, but tip number 3 is to use presets. Presets are preset settings that customize the appearance of your photo in post-processing or in editing. But the idea is to use presets to establish a foundation to start your photo from. It gives you consistency. And once you put that preset on your image, then you can go ahead and manipulate the image in editing as you want. But it's a very powerful tool for me so that I'm not second guessing myself immediately right off the bat. 2 of my favorite presets come from some pretty popular YouTube photographers. The first is Pierre Lambert. They work really well, they're easy to work with, and they don't destroy your images. The second is Jared Polin, Fro Knows Photo. His presets are also very easy to work with. I'll put links to them both down below in the description. They are the best crutch for me as a colorblind photographer. By the way, at this point in the video, I know I'm supposed to tell you to subscribe and click the bell and notifications and give it a thumbs up and all that stuff. And if you want to do that, yeah, that would be awesome. I'd be really thankful. But while I'm here, I also want to tell you to go check out the Big Photo Hunt. It's the online photography community that I created for amateur photographers to all grow together. And it is arguably the world's most friendly photography community. It's really friendly. Okay, tip number 4 is to lean on black and white. And this is super important because color is not the only way to make your images powerful. In fact, a lot of times when black and white takes color out of the equation, you're able to get that story in your photo through, whereas the color might have been distracting. By focusing on light, shadow, and contrast, you can create images that stand out, even if your color perception isn't perfect. A while back, I was speaking to a photographer friend of mine. He's a professor, and I told him, hey, listen, I'm colorblind, Steve. What do I do? And he's like, go shoot black and white. Some of the most famous photographers have only shot in black and white. And he starts rattling off all these names. Henri Cartier-Bresson. Hey, how do I pronounce the name of the famous photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson?
It's typically pronounced something like Henri Cartier-Bresson. The R is a bit of a French rolled R, and the N at the end of Bresson is a bit nasal. So it's a French name with a bit of that French flair in the pronunciation.
Henri.
Perfect. You've got it.
You know I speak Spanish, not French, right? Ansel Adams, Diane Arbus, Robert Frank, Vivienne Mayer. For me, I still love color. I'm not shooting only in black and white, but it's an option. Tip number 5, and I know that these are all the most important, but this one I think you gotta have this one. If you don't have this one, you gotta maybe, I don't know, this is the one you have to have. Tip number 5, get feedback from others. They don't have to be a photographer. They just can't be colorblind. And even the best non-colorblind photographers lean on second opinions. But for us as colorblind photographers, it's non-negotiable because let's face it, we will miss things. And ask specific questions. Are the skin tones, do they look natural? Is the grass too green? I'll tell you, the only time I didn't do this, I had a client and I produced a whole batch of photos and sent them to the client. And she said, hey, these look a little too red. And I was like, they do? I don't see any red. I came back and I adjusted the red a little bit and I sent them back and she's like, yeah, they're still too red. And I was like, what? Adjusted again. Like, nope, they're red. And so I then sent them to my wife and I was like, hey, are these too red? And yeah, they were red. And my wife was like, move that. And I was like, she's like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And I finally got there. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I sent them to my client and she said, oh, those are good. Here's a bonus tip, and I say it is a bonus tip because it wasn't in my original list of 5. But one of my friends, photographer Ken Lee, who is a genius light painter, which is when you take a flashlight in pitch black and you paint the image with the flashlight. He's colorblind. So we talked on the Big Photo Hunt podcast twice about this. And one of the things that he does is he takes the sliders and moves them all the way up. So for example, saturation, he gets the saturation all the way up there. And what that does is allows him to actually see the colors then because they're so oversaturated, and he doesn't keep it there, but that allows him to see the colors and he knows what he wants to adjust and how he wants to adjust it. And then so he brings it back down and then makes those adjustments. I haven't really used that tip. He uses it all the time and it's helped him very much. That's a beautiful shirt you're wearing. Catch you in my next video.